Michael, Reagan just said that Dad would continue what his father, President Ronald Reagan, did.
Hi, I'm Mike Reagan.
Naming their children Hezbollah. You know what I get them for a first birthday? I put a grenade up their butts and light it. Happy birthday, baby. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this Newsmax 2012 election special.
Howdy, Mike. Hey, I wanted to comment on your, I call it a radical remark where you say you'd stick a grenade up a baby's butt to blow them up because they're named Hezbollah.
Mm-hmm. What's wrong with that?
That is pretty ugly.
Why?
If I was a mother and I was listening to your program, I would certainly turn off your program. I've talked to Israelis here in...
George, please. I mean, you don't even understand the concept. You've got people who are naming their children Hezbollah, Nasrallah. They're going to raise them to blow you up, George. They're going to raise these children to get on a plane or come to Vegas where you live and blow you up. That's how these children are going to be raised. I really, you know, if they're going to raise the children that way to kill me and my family, I really don't care.
Soon Iowa will make a critical vote, a decision, you might say, for the future of our country and in a very real way for the world.
I've talked to Israelis here in Las Vegas, just tourists, you know, and I asked, do you think there'll ever be peace in the Middle East?
Yeah, when they're all dead.
You know, that comment of yours is just like...
So we kill the mothers and the babies.
So your comment is...
So what's wrong with killing the mothers and the babies?
Oh, did Michael...
What's wrong with killing the mothers and the babies? George, if that's the case, why not kill the mothers and the babies? To answer your original question, George, when will there be peace in the Middle East? I'll tell you when there'll be peace. There'll be peace when everybody in the Middle East is dead.
In a minute, we are featuring a person that we believe will help continue my father's vision. That person is Newt Gingrich.
Now, on Israel, do you consider yourself a Zionist?
Well, I believe that the Jewish people have the right to have a state, and I believe that the commitments that were made at a time, remember, there was no Palestine as a state. It was part of the Ottoman Empire. And I think that we've had an invented Palestinian people who are in fact Arabs and were historically part of the Arab community. And they had a chance to go many places.
Somebody ought to have the courage to tell the truth. These people are terrorists. They teach terrorism in their schools. They have textbooks that say if there are 13 Jews and 9 Jews are killed, how many Jews are left? We pay for those textbooks through our aid money. It's fundamentally time for somebody to have the guts to stand up and say, enough lying about the Middle East.
I put a grenade up their butts and light it. Happy birthday, baby. Bye-bye.
With the characters running for the Republican candidacy, it sometimes feels as though there is some sort of competition over who can make the most outrageous statement of the campaign season. If there were such a competition, Newt Gingrich could probably declare victory with the comments he made last week, describing the whole Palestinian people as an invented people, and later as terrorists. I will not get into how contemptible and destructive it is for a mainstream politician to engage in this sort of incendiary and offensive rhetoric. I will only focus on the historical absurdity of this so-called historian's take.
There was no Palestine as a state. It was part of the Ottoman Empire. And I think that we've had an invented Palestinian people who are in fact Arabs and were historically part of the Arab community. And they had a chance to go many places.
The Palestinian claim to a right of return is based on a historically false story.
Now let's look at reality. True, Palestine was not an independent state, but part of the Ottoman Empire, in the same way that the tri-state area today is not an independent country, but a part of the United States of America. To suggest that it's okay to drive Palestinians from the towns and villages they've lived in for hundreds, if not thousands of years, because they're Arabs and have a chance to go many places, is just as absurd as suggesting that it's okay to drive New Yorkers out of their homes because they're American and can go to Alabama or Texas. Or like arguing that apartheid in South Africa was fine because the indigenous population was African and could just go to any other country in Africa to avoid discrimination. Can you imagine a more racist attitude? Just as the fact that the French are a part of the broader European community doesn't undermine their right to live in France, the fact that Palestinians are also part of the broader Arab community doesn't undermine their right to live in Palestine, their historic homeland. Every modern state that used to be a part of the Ottoman Empire was invented. but that doesn't mean that their peoples were invented. By no consistent standard can someone argue that the Palestinians are invented while the Israelis are authentic, because Israel itself was only created in 1948, after a few decades of Jewish immigration to Palestine, in contrast to Palestinians' long-standing continuous presence in Palestine. So Newt's own standard does Israel no favors, a point Ron Paul also made to him in a recent debate.
Do you agree with that characterization that the Palestinians are an invented people?
No, I don't agree with that, and that's just stirring up trouble. Technically and historically, yes, under the Ottoman Empire, the Palestinians didn't have a state, but neither did Israel have a state then, too.
Newt, I know it's hard for people like you, but just try to find in yourself the decency to speak honestly about the Middle East, and to join those of us who are fighting for a real just solution for all Israelis and Palestinians.